leave Kennen up, because we already saw that Huni's happy to jump on Lucian and crush the lane. Longzhu have 100% banned Syndra on blue and red side, even though BDD has a penchant for the Zed. You could potentially take that matchup, not interested in losing the pressure early. So far the ban's pretty damn standard for the first couple.
And I wouldn't give Faker a completely busted champion on any patch ever. I just don't think that's ever a good idea, so it makes a whole lot of sense. Zach going to be banned on the blue side by SKT, which is interesting. You could imagine Peanut certainly able to play it, but still happy to take that one away.
It doesn't necessarily fit the Peanut playstyle. It's not really about the skirmishing, much more about the ganks, and having a champion like Lee Sin, I think, will be exactly what Peanut is looking for. Expect it to be the final ban from Longzhu on the red side.
Yeah, Rumble going to be taken away from Huni. His last Rumble performance against BBQ was glorious. A few plays still actually sticking out in my mind. Man's a genius.
But the fun thing is, the Rumble mains are still getting the respect bans, but it feels like the rest of the field don't have to ban away the Rumblers. Interesting ban coming out here from SKT, banning Lee Sin on blue side, basically daring Longzhu to leave Elise up.
Or Galio.
It's true. That's a decision that has to be made. I'm really hoping that we see Nidalee, because these are perhaps the two best Nidalee players in the world.
Yeah.
Cousin, solo queue, Peanut in competitive play. They'll ban the Elise. And SK Telecom, like you say, have access to the Galio. Is the potential triple flex between support, mid lane, and Huni has already shown it plenty in the top lane.
I have a feeling it's sort of the no-brainer choice. It makes me a little bit sad. Papa Smithy, it is going to be locked away. It means that Faker might be playing the Galio in the mid lane, which is not what I want. I want the BDD Faker super hype matchup of massive carries.
And you have to feel like, because we know this is a flex pick, Faker and Huni have already played it in competitive, now on Longzhu's side, you kind of have to start flexing as well, Atlas. You have to start leaving it so that potentially BDD gets a counter pick at last. So I think going for the early flex is probably behooved on the side of Longzhu Gaming, as Prey gets Ashe. So already hype levels are starting to increase.
And increasing further.
They lock in the jungler here. So locking in Kha'Zix. After the first three are gone, it feels there's a lot of more options in the jungle pool. The Rek'Sai, like you say, has been visited by both junglers with no real impression being formed. But that's a really high priority onto Kha'Zix, especially when Galio's there, who's one of the best meat shields at making Kha'Zix irrelevant in teamfights.
Yeah, so like the trinity of junglers banned away, and Kuz thinks that Kha'Zix is the next one in line.
I mean, no one really is getting the value out of Graves. It feels like the last nerfs have really put him on a lower tier list, so tracking where to expect specifically the jungle matchup to go, with people even mixing around with the Rek'Sai, is fun to track, as maybe we won't see a last pick for the mid lane. But he's considering taking a mid laner here, because he will get to double ban Faker's mid lane, or potentially just have a farm lane against the Galio, depending on where SKT want to go. So SKT do now have more information with what to work around. You could ban Orianna in this spot, or just take the matchup if you so choose, but SKT do have the flex to talk about.
I feel like banning Karma makes a heck of a lot of sense here, because Faker's happy to flex the Lulu into the mid lane.
What about Twitch? Do you ban Twitch in this scenario where they already have Lulu, and for example Galio can just heroic entrance defensively?
Would you flex the Varus to the mid lane?
My apologies, looking past the Varus there, so no need to ban away the Twitch.
Huni could play it in the top lane, Papa Smithy. I mean, he's got a penchant
no dashes makes that a little bit
upstairs,
that makes it a little bit harder without the dashes, but you're right, stranger things have happened on this rift.
Exactly. Shout out to Season 2.
Banning away just the cannon in terms of a top lane champions. The top lane matchup, I think, is the one that's been the least investigated. You know, when you have Bang Wolf versus Prey and Gorilla, Faker versus BDD, Peanut versus Kuz, one lane has to be looked over. And look at this, Lucian ban coming out. They are respecting an AD carry for top lane, but a different one.
They are. I like it. I like it a lot. But it does force them not to ban out Faker's champion pool, and that Karma ban that I was talking about might actually be relevant, unless Longzhu just pick it up right here, which makes sense. But Thresh is the top priority.
Yep, Thresh is available, so pick comp with the Kha'Zix potentially to profit. But the moment that you start loading in Wild Growth and Galio's damage reduction, pick comp in the mid to late game looks a little bit more difficult. So Longzhu already, it does feel like, even without their full selections, are kind of marking the early game as their territory to strike, as waiting to see what Faker will choose into the Talia.
Oh, it will be the Cassiopeia, so they're flexing the Galio towards the top side of the map. Longzhu now know that. See what they're actually going to pick into it, as Khan going to continue his lane dominant style potentially with a Renekton.
Well, with Fiora taken off the Rift by SKT, it did really open up the top lane Galio. It's one of the few matchups where Galio can actually be overwhelmed, is the Fiora, and Khan is a very known, especially solo queue Fiora player. So Renekton has pressure and can definitely start trading strongly with the Galio, but the kill factor really isn't there compared to someone like a Fiora. And in the late game, it feels like Galio has more tools. So Longzhu are marking their territory. They're saying 25 minutes, big gold lead or big pressure lead, or otherwise it does feel like SKT will have a lot of tools in the late game. It's not necessarily going to be one-sided, but a lot of the power is front-loaded for Longzhu.
And the thing I find really interesting is the fact that now Longzhu have the Ashe Thresh on the bottom side of the map, arguably the best champions for both of these players. Gorilla, when he can get into the right position on the Thresh, looks unbelievable. Prey's Ashe just does not even need an introduction. And what they've done is focus on the rest of the map on the side of SKT, and we'll see where their focus is going to be in the game as well, whether they're just hoping that Bang & Wolf will hold their own against what can be a dangerous lane.
I mean, to me, this is the most interesting. Seeing the Kha'Zix prioritized so early in a spot where, sure, it can pop off, but the moment you see Galio, I know that my instincts are like, I don't know about Kha'Zix, feels like it's going to be really ruining my day, but things can go different. The 2v2 is always the highlight when these four players take the Rift as well. A lot to look at and a lot to really gauge, because it feels like Longzhu, as I said, are really focusing on early game.
Yep, and SKT focusing on being able to buff up that one carry that they can have in the late game, be that Faker, be that Wolf. I mean, Bang, both of them having champions that can carry. We'll see who's going to get to that position or whether Longzhu is going to take over as we hit the Rift. Big cheers, the OGN studio tonight. Of course, all of the fans turning up. It's a better time as well. I mean, our first series, I feel like it's a little bit biased given the fact that that one started relatively early in the day for the fans here in Korea.
Right, this is the one I think everyone was looking at with Longzhu's great week one and SKT being SKT. Draft pretty even, I think, across both sides. Identity here from Longzhu is the sort of comp where every lane looks like a lane you're pretty happy to gank as Cuz. The strong CC on hit on top lane, reliable in bot lane, and even potentially the knockback coming in from the seismic shove in mid lane as the fans come in with their cheerful. So sort of draft where Cuz can really get ahead, and I think SKT pushing in and getting early information about where Cuz starts is smart, because it does impact which lane he can look for a level 2, level 3 gank on and start that snowball.
Yep. First time we've seen this Renekton skin in Korea as well.
So when you trade vision like they are here, as Longzhu have gotten in aggressive wards on the red side and SKT gets aggressive wards on the blue side, it ends up making jungle pathing more predictable and thus promotes farming. And if you look at the two junglers, Graves is certainly going to be the happier of the two to make that farming happen, as Cuz is potentially going to get Raptors stolen away, so he backs off. But none stolen.
Yeah, he's able to at least lock down all of them. And BDD gets some free time here with this minion wave.
So again, SKT forcing this trade of information does benefit them, given the jungle matchup, because Graves theoretically is more likely to get the farm matchup to 6 that he's looking for.
Yeah. Well, largely unharassed is Peanut as he moves around his jungle. He's going to ignore his red buff and head over to his blue side of the map, making sure that Cuz isn't able to steal that one away.
Cuz just knows there's a ward, so he started to walk towards enemy blue, thinking he was going to potentially opt into vertical jungling, but thinks better of it, and we can see that Graves is going to go straight to blue, so smart move from him.
Was that a mind game, though, to make sure that Peanut does move over that way? Because, of course, vision was shared on both sides.
I like your thought line, the next levels. Always the potential when you have great players on the Rift.
Bang & Wolf harassing a lot. Of course, range advantage certainly there as BDD and Faker fighting this one out. The Twin Fangs really forcing the Talia off the wave.
And big regen advantage. Faker went Corrupting Potion against Doran's Ring. That means that BD will have to burn through one potion to even get half health and a second one to be topped off.
Actually, playing this lane out quite intelligently. I like that, using the slice to get out of the Winds of War.
Basically, there should never be a time where the Winds of War should both harass Khan and push the lane. So it's all about managing your minion wave to be able to get harass in, punish Galio, whether he chooses to wave clear or whether he chooses to harass and try to get the trades in there with no resources. So Khan has more options in this lane, and you can see he's gone super aggressive. He's gone keystone-wise for the fervor, so he's definitely looking for those all-in trades and the amount of procs you get from the W especially.
The Battle Crocodile.
It's amusing how 2 times ago we saw Faker just dominate people as the Cassiopeia, and then the grand final against G2 was on the feeding end of the case, so Maple and Perks had different Cassiopeias to deal with, but Faker's Cassiopeia inspires fear from the best of us.
It certainly does. I'm a little bit frightened here, and I'm actually just casting him, so it's not even going to be a problem. As Kaz discovered in his jungle, he's done a full clear, just has the Gromp to go. That one's going to be sorted out.
Full clear versus full clear, advantage SKT, so the early game has kind of played like we mentioned. No early ganks for Kaz, and Gray's farming away.
He has done well to keep up in CS, but he is going to have to go back very soon. Especially if Faker is going to hit that level 6 mark. Still a couple of levels to go, but this lane is very scary for BDD as Faker blocks out the siege minion.
He stopped the cannon minion from going over to BDD as well. He missed that one. Pressure's similar in top lane, but the CS advantage a little bit bigger for Khan.
Oh god. Actually pressuring Huni all the way away from his turret.
Speaking of pressure, BDD has maybe 2 spells in him.
Faker has the Ghost, isn't going to use it, of course, gets himself to a good position, but BDD does at least get a free back, which is, I think, what Longju were looking for.
It was definitely, obviously, you'd love to get both, but they got one advantage in the case of getting a preferential back time, like you say, relieving some pressure from the mid laner.
It's going to be an extra Doran's Ring and those boots. Refillable potion is in there as well.
Gorilla's identity in this game is going to be fun to track. If you think back to his great Thresh performances, compared to hitting the sick hooks like we've seen other Threshers do, it was Gorilla being in mid lane for the defensive dark passages that I think really brought our time back to spring 2016 when he was roaming on Alistar and making plays around the map.
Yeah.
It was more about his playmaking out of lane than his playmaking in lane compared to someone like Mata, who just straight up hard carried on KT in game 2. So, will he get afforded the space to leave lane, leave Prey alone, when it's Varus Lulu from Bang & Wolf? You know, Lulu's very lane-focused when it comes to the trading. So actually getting the room to make those sort of maneuvers against Bang & Wolf, and specifically this duo of champions, seems a lot less likely than he was able to pull off in other games.
Well, Gorilla going to cheekily head home, and like you said, looking to potentially move to that mid lane. And I'm really glad that you bring up Gorilla's identity, just because he is just known in the games that he looks good. He's just in the right place. It's his positioning on the map and his game sense that really sets him apart from other supports, especially on these engage-based supports like the Thresh, like the Alistar that you mentioned.
Yeah, one of the biggest myths, or I guess popular myths about Faker, was him calling kills before they happened, talking about him calling plays before they occurred. This came from All-Star with him saying he got kills. People will remember the story. With Gorilla, it almost feels like he knows where the action is going to unravel well in advance. It's not just communication with lanes, it's his understanding of the game as well. It's why seeing him just stuck in lane for the last couple of seasons kind of been against Gorilla's identity that made him look like the best support back in spring. So a meta where he can get out of lane on a champion like Thresh is a great meta if you want to be watching Gorilla make the big plays around the map.
Excited to see what he can make happen as he's moving towards the mid lane now. BDD taking control back here in mid now that Faker's come back with a tier. Not a lot of battle stats on that one, so the extra Doran's Ring from BDD helping him out.
This lane's all about push and leave for BDD as a faster push advantage. Lulu and Graves in mid lane.
BDD has the weave as well, can actually use it defensively, I believe, in time, as Wolf possibly out of position, but Gorilla not going to find the hook. Longju willing to answer as now Kaz launches his way forward, has the ultimate available, and there's the playback. Oh, Wolf manages to shield himself as BDD may be overly aggressive, but gets the Dark Passage and heads back.
Because Dark Passage was available, he thought he could get one Q and an auto attack to take down Wolf through the shield with the Ignite running. Wasn't able to do that, so BDD kind of gives up his flash for free. So double flash used by Longju, just a single, as BDD and Faker still fighting.
Yeah, Seismic Shove actually being held onto. No, not going to find the target is Faker. Oh, God. BDD respecting the turret like he should, but that was so close.
Standing up and being accounted for, taking the trades. Faker famously never going to be fast on the trigger figure with the flash. Always has the great damage calculations. Close stuff, but no advantage. In fact, the only advantage is the CS advantage in top, really.
Yeah.
To separate the teams.
Huni as well, now having that triple Doran's ring, will be able to clear much more easily. Because
Low on mana.
yeah, but still looking aggressive.
You can tell from Summoner Choice that he's thinking more early game. A lot of Kazakhs have kind of followed the Grave School of Thought and gone for Storm Raider Surge to get the extra Qs in, because this wants Thunderlords for those higher oomph earlier ganks.
I like it. I think it's important to get a Kazakhs ahead, so having that extra damage in your early ganks is important.
Lose out in the late game.
Understand the school of thought, but
more Qs with a short cooldown is an attractive proposition in the late game. Movement speed, something you can't really itemize for, as Kazakhs can be powerful, reset or no reset, but you're right, Thunderlords, given what we talked about with the earlier identity with the Rek'Sai, for example, and the Talia especially, makes a lot of sense, because
speaking of the Talia, is going to spot out Peanut moving up. One thing to definitely compliment Longzhu for is their vision, especially around that mid lane. Look at those control wards flanking BDD. They don't want to let Faker get any sort of advantage as the hook lands onto Wolf. Arrow is there as well as Prey, getting a lot of damage down with the Q. The heal's there, but the auto attacks are going to give the first blood over to Prey. BDD says, nope, you ain't going to follow up on nothing, Peanut. Head back to the jungle.
Straight up 2v2 kills. These were the things that happened with the Ashe Misfortune lane back in the semifinals. So first blood straight up in the 2v2. Last season, Prey and Gorilla were on the back foot. They didn't look like the same duo lane that did so well on the Rocks Tigers, but they've come to play this season. Now they pick up the sort of lead that this comp desperately needs.
Well, Faker actually didn't know Cuz was there. Gets the passive down. Holds on to his ultimate, though, does Faker. Just loses half of his health bar. Yet another member of Longzhu moving down. More vision now available for our red side team. There are so many control wards.
And so many people rotating through mid lane to try and give BDD the pressure advantage in this lane. Talia already has priority, always will be able to shove in. But they're throwing in more resources to actually get true mid lane priority, which against Faker, doesn't matter what the champion matchup is something to crave and something so few mid laners have ever claimed.
Oh, yes. Taking a look at the top lane, 20 CS lead for Khan approximately.
For the Cull as well, so that will cash in.
Yeah.
Soon.
Doesn't need a solo kill, just needs to farm. Perfect.
Feels like a solo kill. 350 gold cash out soon.
He's got the dominance, not dominance, remember.
He's got the dominance too.
Yeah, both of them. Aptly named, and now BDD looking without the ultimate to come in for a play. Khan just dirty farming here around the back, just baiting them in. BDD, yep, not going to find anything.
Optimistic.
Yeah. Still claiming the farm is Khan. Losing a lot of his health bar too.
Khan, another player that we really didn't know what to expect. Cuz had the solo Q buzz. BDD has always had a bit of a swagger and again was a top rank 1 solo Q player. But Khan coming in from the bench, honestly, mostly in China where he was a bit part player at best, to sub in for Expression, who was that reliable top laner, but not much more. Feels like Expression started to be that much more as mid lane.
Yeah, there's not a lot of mana on Faker, exactly right. The threaded volley hits all 3 times with Peanut. Turns up. BDD still wanting this one. Arrow's going to land on a Wolf one more time. Good play from Gorilla. Lands the hook all too easily. No chains of corruption are going to save you from that one. Bang just has to watch his support die. Cuz now paying some attention. One member off the map. And Longzhu press themselves forward. And
he's feeling strong enough to invade in the top side jungle. The bot side jungle is where they really own the map. The bot lane 2v2 getting 2v2 straight up kills means that red side jungle is a lot more unsafe for Peanut to play around. But the proactive plays continue to happen. Prey hits every arrow. This is just really the identity of him as a player. And Longzhu are looking for the bonus objectives to vindicate the draft, to vindicate the advantages. They're trying to get it on the top side, but Peanut is here.
Yeah, Huni's going to make his way in as well, as Khan may not have got the memo, as the leap is used from Cuz to get himself out. Okay, Khan throws out the dominance.
I think he had it on cooldown, might have used it to try and damage the Rift Herald. Speaking of Rift Herald.
Well, Cuz is going to jump back in. He wants to steal this one away. There it is! Rift Herald gained by Longzhu. They may not be able to pick up the buff, but they at least deny it from SKT.
SKT want to make it timeout. I was watching Faker's stream where he was playing jungle Nidalee and forgot to pick it up. So there is that definite amount of time where you can pick it up. For now, Longzhu still don't have access to the buff. It's sitting on the Rift for a couple more seconds.
Yeah, this is a 4 versus 3. Make that a 4 versus 2 as Huni is deleted.
But Peanut is still escorting the Rift Herald buff. Wolf is called up here as well. This is how high priority the Rift Herald is. If they take it, they can take down mid lane. They get it!
That was so cute with the Dark Passage getting Cuz out.
So the reason why you fight over this so much is one of Cassiopeia's biggest problems is wave clear. She can take out a wave over time, but her ability to instantly AoE down a wave clear is very low as Bang & Wolf continue to trade. So getting Rift Herald here is an advantage in its own, and that's why SKT did not wave the white flag. They kept fighting and hoped that they could deny the buff being picked up by Longzhu.
Well, Khan with a 34 CS lead is going to head back home once again. We'll see whether Black Cleaver is going to be the next option. He's already cashed in that cull, so a lot of money in the back pocket of this Renekton.
Merc Treads is something he wants to pick up very soon as well, given all the crowd control. Not even just from the lane he's facing.
Well, back is actually going to be stopped as he hangs out. Only with his teleport back, Barmy Cinder and triple Doran's Ring means that the wave clears very fast.
And this is what you see. See Kuz on your screen, walking around the red side jungle from SKT as if he owns it, and that's because with 2v2 kills...
He basically does.
He basically does, exactly. Atlas, they also have the Taliyah, who can roam first over the Cassiopeia, so... a lot of pressure here onto this jungle. That's why Kuz is still here.
Actually looking for Peanut. The arrow's going to land. There's a flash leap into the hook from Gorilla, who is, of course, in the right position. This is the Longzhu we wanted to see in this series.
And they're getting out of lane because so many people rotated through mid that Faker could never have the QE trades that he managed at level 1, level 2, level 3. And he's had so much pressure that he's had to respect that there's a bit of breathing room in bot lane from the 2v2 kills, and Kuz is really benefiting, listening to his team, and surprisingly, they're actually going to use the Rift Herald bot lane. They want to get this Ashe and Thresh out of lane now.
Yeah, they're looking for that first brick as well. Should be an easy one as, look at this guy, charges up, that's disgusting, always will be, and I will always react to it. I know, guys, it might be getting annoying.
And Prey's not even going to go for the last hit. He's going to actually just wait a couple of seconds, come in for it now, gets the solo gold, does Prey all 650, the rest of the team vacates that lane. Peanut will be forced here as well. No pressure on the mid lane, no pressure on the Renekton. He's going to do a bit of farming himself, pick up the Krugs, and even a little bit of bonus damage on the inner turret.
Yep, another crash comes out. Bang eventually finishes that one off, but I love that they're giving so much of this gold over to Prey as well. Now looking to go back, finishes Blade of the Ruined King. Can he even get a Zeal off this? He can. And a cheeky dagger. This Ashe is so accelerated.
I mean, we had an Ashe who had to emergency roam mid lane because he couldn't lane 2v2 in game 1. That was Duel versus Jhin on the side of Everate. This is the other type of Ashe, an Ashe that's unleashed on the map, and that's not even the most important factor, Atlas. This is a Thresh that doesn't need to be in a 2v2 lane, and Gorilla's always been one of those players, like we've said a couple of times today, with that forethought. Let's see where Longzhu want to set up, because they've got pick tools aplenty.
Yep, and Gorilla also has the mobility boots as well, so he can be in the right place at the right time, even faster.
Would you say those boots were made for Roman?
Absolutely. As Prey is going to discover Bang, knows that he can take him down, but didn't want to go for that kill. Still vision available here for SKT, so Bang able to keep himself relatively safe. Remember, this is a game on a relative timer for Longzhu. They have a lot of early game threats. SKT will have a gigantic Galio in the late game. Peanut, of course, scales fantastically on this Grave still. In fact, even more with the changes, giving him a little bit more of those ratios, but a little bit less of the base damage.
I think a timer, which I did call it myself, so I'm kind of calling myself out here, is true. But it's more about cultivating a gold lead and extending it, right? 4,000 at this point is excellent for the side of Longzhu's compass.
Arrow's going to land onto Faker. The hook's there as well. Seismic shove. Wolf does manage to pump up the Cassiopeia. The flash is good. Faker lives, and Peanut picks up the kill onto Cuz. Prey survives for the moment as Khan trying to do the damage. Bang! Can't really tank up the Renekton. But SKT, they always seem to be able to do it. It doesn't really matter how far behind they are. You still have to respect it. Khan just kills an unsuspecting Bang.
Yeah, had a control ward in the brush. Bang was trying to recall in a pretty greedy spot. Speaking of greed.
Yep, the man advantage is still there, and oh my god, there's the flash. Wolf is going to be the target as Huni, very good taunt. He's going to make sure that his support doesn't die. The flayback, and Hooney's gone too aggressive. BDD grabs the kill, and now SKT floundering underneath this turret with low health bars and low mana bars as well. Faker just gives up on it. He's going to head down bottom lane and try and push this one forward.
And floundering sounds harsh, but it's true because Faker was not going to be there. He had already committed to going bot lane, Crown-esque, Faker-esque, of picking up farm during the disarray. We see the replay here. They do layer their CC well, but the damage reduction into the wild growth, good positioning by Wolf to be there for the ultimate, means that Faker just doesn't go down, and someone was going to be caught in no man's land. It was Cuz. After this, where it was just a 1-for-0, you think, okay, a 1-for-0 against the run of play, this is going to be excellent from the side of SKT. Bang walks in, thinks he's fine, puts down a ward, but ends up face-checking a Renekton that had already been accelerated, picks up the bonus kill, and then with Cassiopeia going bot lane, they see Cassiopeia on a map. So on the map, they actually had aggressive vision to swap Cassio, and they're like, well, Faker's not going to be here, let's go. And the go button certainly was popped at the right time.
Yeah, and that was actually beautiful juggling as well, as Gorilla picked up the aggro on the turret, kept everyone alive after that dive. So Longzhu with a lot of controlled play this game. Cuz, of course, very aggressive in that last fight, but this is Longzhu looking like they're playing with newfound vigor and giving SKT a lot of respect.
SKT, there's nothing they can do. Honestly, Faker will clear a ward, but that's the most they can hope for. Doesn't have the tools to do anything. Khan has a lot of wave clear, so he's not going to give up his turret without a fight, that's for sure.
And look at how far ahead he is. All of a sudden, 60 CS is the gap between the Renekton and the Galio.
60 CS plus a Cull Cash, and it's actually going to be huge difference here. Got kill and 2 assists as well. It's about 2/3 of the way to his 2-item build, including the Merc Tread. So it feels like we have to reevaluate where we're putting Khan. Are we going to throw him a top 3 top laner? Definitely not with the talent we have, but he's starting to get in the conversation for top 5, and for a guy who no one knew what to make of, that's pretty cool to see.
And for a league with some incredible top lane talent, especially this year, 2017 is sort of like the top lane year for LCK with the return of Marin and so many massive names.
And Smeb is probably the one of the top 3 that's going to have to start proving himself because, you know, I'll sit here and give that old adage every time it fits the narrative, you know, form is temporary, class is permanent. Well, his form over the course of 3 games has been pretty woeful, so he definitely gets the reprieve when it comes to top 3 for, you know, 3 matches, 5 matches, 6 matches. But at some point, when you start getting closer to double digits, you kind of lose out on that sort of reputation. So while Khan is building up a reputation, Smeb needs to start playing to him, but that's for another day.
Speaking of Khan, 2-level advantage now over Hooney. He clears this one up. Hooney will be able to at least survive the aggression, but we're looking at a Flame Horizon potentially one more time. Of course, last time we saw it, it was an AD carry variety, which is certainly unique. Prey's going to be able to take down that outer turret towards the top side of the map. Pings up there by SKT.
So now, with the build that Faker has gone, getting a pick on the Cassio in the late game is going to be almost impossible. Consider that he will have a Seraph Shield, Banshee Veil, a 10-stack Rod of Ages, and also most likely a heroic entrance with damage reduction. So diving in on Faker is going to be difficult, and diving is what Longzhu do. Renekton and Kha'Zix especially want to fight in melee range. So it seems like SKT are trying to weather the storm with itemization and want their backline to be able to free hit in the late game. Does mean they're damaged on the lower ebb, and Longzhu do not want this game to go another 20.
Oh, Kuz looking for Peanut. Weaver's wall flies through, but Peanut gets to the safe side. It's going to be okay, but at least the control ward was protected. Weaver's wall for safe control ward, always important.
I mean, a free mountain Drake, so getting away from the ocean and the cloud that has pretty much dominated our Drakes so far in LCK this season.
And Longzhu, of course, picking up a cheeky cloud earlier on. I don't actually remember when that came down as Bang is going to be able to find a cheeky pick onto Prey. Oh, no, he's not! Collateral damage, not even at the right range as Wolf picks up the kill somehow. Minion damage.
He dies to Ignite. They were trying to auto-attack on the minions to stay alive. Doesn't have any lifesteal, or at least enough lifesteal with the Blade of the Ruin King and Hurricane to survive. Just about pick up a pick. But probably not enough to start the Baron, which is the objective SKT really want to stabilize the game.
Yeah, but they are going to be able to at least get an outer turret towards the top side of the map, given the man advantage that they have accrued. I can't believe that Prey didn't manage to survive. I could have sworn he was going to survive that, but unable to, Cuz going to try and at least get some of his Krugs here from Peanut. His wave is going to crash towards that top side. And a slight failing of the vision that Longzhu should have been praised for earlier on in the game. Prey is going to get caught out.
I mean, they've had great vision, but I think it's more on Prey acting around one area that was pretty blank for Longzhu. Faker was in the top lane. They were setting up vision, SKT in the top half, trying to ensure that no Baron happened. We saw a Drake being soloed on our screens. You can infer that SKT is playing around the other side of the map when Drake is a free objective for Longzhu. Prey didn't play respectfully and got taken down in his position as he deserved to be.
Yeah. And of course, bot side of the map was where Longzhu had focus, just to make sure that Mountain Drake did go down in their favor. So intelligent work putting that one down early, as now Huni taking minimal damage given the fact that his armor total is gigantic.
And now the things start to unsettle because it feels like Longzhu need to make the right moves around the map, given the kill pressure is almost absent. Speaking of plays around the map,
And Weaver's Wall.
didn't spot Talia, but not going to lead to anything too consequential there for Longzhu.
Okay, thought that something was going to go. He had the sweet zoom at us again. Prey is going to get caught out, but Dark Passage is there. QSS saves him from the Chains of Corruption.
We'll be able to lifesteal back up as well.
Bang actually going for the Phantom Dancer's second item on the Varus, wanting to focus on single target picks, as there's the Weaver's Wall to come in and deny any wave clear that isn't the piercing arrow. Collateral damage is going to deal with it though.
A wave clear from downtown, but using an escape, more damage ability is still something. Khan has to flash.
Yeah, actually gets out of the way the Justice Punch. Tanks up everything else, but it's going to be fine.
It's on Longzhu, keeping up the pace. 5,000 gold lead, hasn't grown much from where it was 6 to 7 to 8 minutes ago. And while outscale is perhaps not the best work, because SKT don't have the Veins and the other strong carries in the late game, the build from Faker and the teams in comparison, you know that Longzhu needs to stay 5 to 10 to 15. They need to continue growing to make this comp work in the late game.
Yeah, the Galio, of course, will be that front line that they're looking for as well. So as far as front-to-back team fighting is concerned, they certainly have that going in their favor, even if Huni can't necessarily do too much battle with Khan's range.
He can walk up to Khan, clear the wave, and leave without dying. And maybe that's enough to really diminish Renekton, who's not known for his team fight power. Cassiopeia will peel away from him. Varus has tools as well. It's going to be frustration for Renekton to do much in team fights. And he's going to be caught.
Yeah, Bang looking for the Chains of Corruption there as well, waiting for the slice, but just throws it out anyway. Dominus comes in. He wants to try and get something back from this, as Bang takes a lot of damage, but not enough. And now Longzhu considering the Baron. As they move over, at least clearing out vision from this one. We've got 40 seconds on Khan, who is level 16 on this Renekton, so that death timer quite large.
No defensive items means that he doesn't buy enough time for the turn onto Baron with just a single Mountain Drake to be realistic from Longzhu. And that's with Kha'Zix and a Blade of the Ruin King Ashe, who are pretty damn adept at picking up Baron.
Yeah.
Talia also works against her, but...
Oh, she's got the Leandri's Torment though.
Yep.
10% health damage, definitely a good idea against the Baron, so certainly nothing to scoff at. I believe you completely, Papa Smithy.
Huni now is tanky enough to be the one-man face-checking machine. Lulu's not the best at putting down vision, so they have Huni to be able to walk up to his unwarded brushes. Doesn't mean that he's not split pushing though.
Yeah. Upgraded Spike Rack here for Cuz. Heading forward, I believe that's Q and W, who is playing at home. Certainly is. See whether he upgrades the ultimate as the final one, which has been the Kha'Zix idea of late as far as evolutions, which I find weird because I love getting those resets as Cuz. Okay, just going to break some Banshees.
And the vision here is also very important.
Yeah.
W providing vision, slowing and breaking spell shields, like you say, is important.
Little hook, no flare to be found from Gorilla though.
Yeah, and Prey did slow down his build in terms of damage. No sign of armor penetration or an Infinity Edge just yet. Means that auto-attacking onto a Galio is a frustration game for him. All right, now here's Longzhu's big play. They're starting the Baron as the Renekton shows in bot lane. So far, no vision for SKT.
Yep, Weaver's Wall is going to come in.
Only one entrance now.
Yeah, any potential attackers, but this Baron should fall down. Cuz has a heck of a lot of damage. That's going to be it. The smite comes in. Peanut throws out the collateral damage to get out of there, but Prey has to use the QSS very early. Does escape as Gorilla throws the box down. Perfect placement, and that's a free Baron for Longzhu.
And really good stuff from Longzhu Gaming, given the comp, given what we were seeing, and Renekton struggles to actually make his lead and items work in teamfights. They had to make a play like that work, so credit to them. Understood their window. Around 25 to 30 minutes was really the end of their peak of efficiency, and picking up the Baron is big. Look at the Mountain Drake, although...
Oh, Peanut.
Watch the teleport!
Fadeaway comes in, but Peanut will get stopped by Khan. Okay, not quite enough. Dark Passage gets the Crocodile out. And now, can Longzhu get themselves enough turrets to snowball this lead into something that SKT cannot get over?
SKT did basically waste a quarter of the Baron buff, starting up a Mountain Drake and taking it down. Obviously, Longzhu would have loved to pick it up, but the contest there does actually shave some time off the Baron buff power play. They have to recall, go and buy the items to behoove the Baron being taken. And for now, minion waves are in a great spot from the perspective of SKT. They've pushed out top, they're pushing out bot lane, and we've already mentioned that Huni can do that largely in the face of Longzhu. It's going to be a lot on the picks here. Frey's definitely an Ashe to trust the arrows of, but Ashe arrow target's starting to go down. They need to first get the spell shield off of Faker, and then diving in with heroic entrance, Lulu. Picks that were possible in the early game are getting harder and harder. So let's see if Longzhu can make a Baron power play work, because for now, everything's looking pretty steadfast for SKT.
Yeah, it's almost like Wolf is the only Wolf and Peanut, the only targets really is. We managed to steal away a red buff, but Bang gets caught out slightly. Arrow's just going to find him there as Cuz heads over, but they do not want to jump on top of Faker. Hook goes wide. The flash used from Bang to make sure that doesn't land.
You'll notice the Bang held onto his QSS. He saw there were no threats coming in, so didn't blow it early. So maybe crucial in a fight if one breaks out in the next few seconds, but Bang had to flash at the end.
Yeah, good heads-up play. BDD going to be dealing with this big top wave, and so far this Baron buff has done virtually nothing as far as structural damage. Apart from that bottom side, as Prey getting some cheeky autos onto Peanut. One auto attack on that inner turret. As there's the flash from Faker, just dodging out of the way of the hook there, as well as Prey's gonna fall. And this is the Faker that we wanted to see in this series.
It may also be the turning point in the game, outplaying Prey. Prey tried to stand up, but Faker knew he did not have flash. Not enough space was built with the Dark Passage, which was on cooldown. Faker saw it already be used. So the Baron buff not contributing to much. Faker, he wants more kills.
Jumping around the side, there's the heroic entrance just to make sure that this is not a fight that Khan can win unless he takes down Wolf. Slice and dice, makes it out with the Dark Passage. Outplays upon outplays, Papa Smithy.
But think about it, did that outplay buy them a lot? Now, BDD shows it bought them something. With the Baron buff, was able to get an inner turret, which is more than Longzhu were able to claim for the great majority of this Baron buff. That's just about to time up. They still take the turret. Really nice fancy moves from Khan, but if they need fancy moves like that to trade up in objectives, I think SKT is just fine.
Yeah, I feel like it too, and it's always an SKT series where even if they're behind, you feel like the longer it goes, the higher their chances of coming out with a victory is. Let's have a look at this again.
So this was really cool. Khan instantly respecting the heroic entrance, turns on to Wolf. Wolf walked up, ult's not going to be enough to take him out. The flash away from the punch and then into the Dark Passage was just beautiful mechanical play from Khan. We're watching the backside of the mid lane. This will be a second objective after the Baron buffs, but still in the same passage of play from Longzhu. Good to see as Khan, he's not really interested in Huni anymore.
Well, all the inner turrets are going to fall down. Good stun gets Huni away from that Weaver's Wall. But SKT, I mean, he is going to be that big tanky member. Can they actually get the pick? They are going to be able to as Huni falls down. That's the front line dead. Hook lands onto Faker. Saracen Embrace keeps him alive, and they pick up the kill onto Gorilla. But can Bang be taken away from this one? BDD flashes forward. He's got the Qs, gets the double kill as Bang falls down.
Yeah, trades up, but they don't have a minion wave to get any more, so SKT still continue to end on a sliver in terms of keeping their base up. Breaking the base is so important for Longzhu to buy them the space to get the fights they want later, to get the advanced vision, to claim something like a Baron later in the game. Surprised how fast Galio died. I think it's because he was low on the magic resist, and B just kind of obliterated him with his first round of damage. Right, doing just fine himself.
Void
Longzhu-
Staff and the Mortal Reminder have been completed, Papa Smithy, so possibly Longzhu now with enough damage to get through a tank.
They do more damage to Faker and Huni, that's for sure. Going these item builds will struggle a little bit at doing the Infinity Edge-esque damage to Peanut, Bang, and Wolf, but you kind of have to choose between your vices, and fighting front to back is probably what Prey is going to have to do. He's not going to be skipping past any tanks to damage but the back line, so that's where the Mortal Reminder comes in. First Baron buff was the real thing that cemented Longzhu as being competitive in this game. The second one they'll be able to set up around soon. They need control wards for. 3 can be placed at one point. Right now, as Gorilla, BDD, and Cuz all have access to control wards.
Once again, SKT getting their minion waves in order. Something that we compliment them on almost every single time we see them on the Rift. And it saved their base that last time around. I mean, no minion waves in order to push down these inhibitor turrets, anything like that, even after picks on the side of Longzhu. Now to set up for this Baron that's going to be coming up in a minute. Feels like Scimitar done for Prey as well.
Feels like if Longzhu play everything perfect, they will win this game, but the 10,000 gold lead now was a 6,000 gold lead 20 minutes ago. So the fact that it hasn't grown means that Longzhu, it's basically one of those every fight you must reassess. Longzhu needs to continue to come out ahead, otherwise that familiar inevitability of an SKT win can't help but nag you the back of your neck. Nice check with the Dark Passage there, means that Gorilla won't be caught. Khan's on the backside, but he is spotted. He should probably clear that ward.
Yeah, probably. Huni's going to make his way in as Cuz is just going to steal that one away. There's the Weaver's Wall. They set this one up. They're looking for Huni once again. He will have the redemption for the extra heal. Justice Punch gets him out, and in goes Khan, but might need to take that Dark Passage to get out. Huni is just going to heroic exit from this fight, and oh my god, Cuz just going to be destroyed.
Petrifying Gaze does hit onto Cuz. He goes down. No smite for 50 seconds. Let's see how SKT plays around that. Longzhu's first objective is to push out the mid lane, then get vision down, because every time a jungler is the only person to fall at 35 minutes, the what-ifs start to open. As I don't think that Huni knows about that positioning, but maybe he did.
Well, the hook's going to land. He's very far forward, but very tanky at the same time.
Still 25 seconds, so Longzhu do not want to give up. Vision around Baron. Wolf has to flash.
Yeah, they get a flash out of Wolf. Good slice, get themselves over. Longzhu still playing as a unit, but SKT have started off this Baron. Peanut relatively low. Hook goes wide on the side of Gorilla. Faker booped back with the seismic shove, but this Baron going down so low. Peanut is going to secure. Can Longzhu actually pick anything up as Khan picks up the first one onto Faker? Bang! Has to flash out of the pit. Peanut's dead. Huni is going to follow the flash play to get Huni out of flash range, up the wall, and the auto attack was already in the air. So 2 Baron buffs remain on SKT. Still a positive trade for them.
Yeah, they get 3 kills. So with
Is
only
it a positive? I don't know. I got a
it's
little
so
bit ahead
hard
of
to
myself.
apply. That's what I'm wondering, Atlas. I get your thought process there. If it's 2, you're like, okay, Baron buff. It's 3. It means you can only really have Baron buff minions in 2 lanes. And also, we're late in the game. The death timers here mean they're going to give up, at minimum, an inhibitor.
Yeah, the teleports come out from Khan as well. They will lose this inhibitor, so Longzhu proving me wrong most certainly.
18 seconds on Faker. Let's see how much Longzhu want to push for here. Already the ultimate used by Bang, just to try and buy time.
Looks like Longzhu actually agree with this as Bang. Immediate QSS gets himself out of the way of the Ash Arrow, but first Nexus turret will fall down. Cuz making sure Bang can't clear out the way.
2 seconds for Faker.
Oh, not going to be able to fall. Nexus has been focused, and Longzhu are going to take game number 1 over SKT.
It was all about the windows in this game. You wonder whenever the Baron is given up for 3, and the quick answer emphatically was that it was the wrong decision. If multiple people could get out, it would have worked for SKT, but they didn't have Baron buff minions to buy them time for the respawns. 40 plus minutes in, it's not going to be good enough, and Longzhu executed on a comp that was tough to play, where there was very obvious fall off. They avoided those moments with smart play, and that's the Longzhu. They're going to make this one a series.
They most certainly are. If game 1's anything to go by, you definitely need to tune in for game number 2, because look at Coma's face. This guy knows exactly what went wrong, and you can bet that SKT will have answers in the next draft.
SK Telecom will need to regroup. I don't necessarily think their draft was a problem, but Longzhu played to their win conditions, and SKT ended up giving up more and more. The gold lead was always there from the early game and continued to grow. So super exciting to track where we go in the draft from here, because there's going to be adaptations. That means that power is going to be left up in the draft.
Most certainly is. And look, when the 2 Baron buffs were still retained by SKT, they managed to take down the Baron. I thought that that could be an opportunity for SKT to get back in, but that's because I assumed that they always have their minion waves in position. This time, Longzhu had actually prepared that mid wave and got to capitalize.
Very hard to prep your minion waves against an early game comp that's had the push for the majority of the game and take Baron. Those two things are kind of counter objectives. To get both, very difficult. They weren't able to claim that. They rode in, the Baron buffs weren't enough to stall anything, and they went for the assertive finish. It was about 25 seconds when they started to kill the inhibitor, and you wondered, could it be the stall? The emphatic answer was no.
It most certainly was. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a short break. When we get back, SKT are going to fight back against Longzhu Gaming in what will be a tumultuous second match in this series. Don't go anywhere.